84 of the Fomocast. Hello, YouTube. First episode worked out great on YouTube.
How many views were there?
Like 60.
60.
You know, it's not bad for not having. I barely shared it. I had friends share it, so it was pretty cool. But I edited it. I had messed up one part. I didn't edit one part right, but I gotta fix that. I can fix that. But hello, YouTube. If it gets cut off on the end, I'm still trying to learn this program that I'm using. That it only lets you record so long. I don't know what the algorithm is that shuts it off at certain times. Maybe it was too dark when I recorded the last time for something else. But this is episode 84. We're back here after a little hiatus. I mean, 4th of July was pretty crazy.
Wow.
So, there's a lot of stuff going on. But we're here. We're back. Make sure to go to all our stuff. Go to facebook.com/FOMOcast, Twitter, FOMO_cast, and FOMO podcast on Instagram. And also make sure to go to YouTube and search Fomocast podcast, because it made me do this stupid title like that. I don't know why, but whatever. But yeah, Fomocast podcast. Search us on YouTube.
Fomocast podcast.
Yeah, because it had to have two names. It's some sort of, I don't know how, I couldn't figure it out. But hey, Fomocast podcast. It's search. I think the one reason why they do that too is so that like when people search podcast, it shows up. You know what I mean? So like, because some people have a random name for a podcast, and or they'll have so you know how like they have nowadays they have shows that were like web series that became TV shows, but they changed the name or blah blah blah. I think it's just a way to kind of tie in everything. So if they have a name, but it also is a podcast, it's not just a TV show or whatnot. You just search podcast and it shows up that part. I don't know. Who knows? But make sure to go to all that stuff, and also make sure to go to the Pod Bros Network, podbros.com. Listen to everything they got because it's always something fun, especially with all the. There's been a lot of movie news that's slightly shocking, slightly not shocking. One thing I forgot to write down, we'll talk about it first because it's so pressing. It's interesting clause that no one's ever heard about in a movie deal. But make sure to go to Pod Bros Network, podbros.com, check it out. And then thank you Timothy Mendoza for always trying to share stuff that's happening, going on.
Does he ever come by?
Tim's so busy because he works for a vineyard or a wine company. So they're busy pretty much most of the summer, and then plus, he has a real regular job. So since he doesn't live locally anymore, it's kind of hard. So he lives in Tulare. So I told him I'm going next time come by, see my kids, see my ginger baby, so you can, see him, because I don't think he hasn't seen him yet. His parents have seen him, but haven't. It's been so busy.
How old is he now? Like 6 months?
My kid?
Yeah.
No, he's gonna be 1 in September.
Again?
Again? But no, yes, he's gonna be 1 in September, so we'll be having a party. And Titus might not be here, so Titus won't be invited.
Maybe.
Who knows? We'll see.
I don't know what's going on.
Okay. And then all you people in Turlock, make sure to go to the other place, and you may see Titus working there. Who knows? Yeah, he might throw you out. Just watch out. He's scarier than he looks. The first thing we'll talk about. Okay, so Spider-Man: Far From Home was the newest movie that came out, right? So people are liking it. People have the normal complaints you get from a superhero movie. Whatever, It's one of those things where you're not going to make everybody happy, but okay, it's good. It's good. Well, apparently there's a clause that I never heard about that basically, if Spider-Man doesn't make a certain amount of money, Sony could lose the rights to Spider-Man. It's some weird clause. I never even heard of it. So those of you that don't know, Sony currently owns it because of the deal back in the day that Stan Lee and Marvel sold off a bunch of characters to keep the comic book going. So Sony has the rights now. They have to film the movies in a specific way in order to keep the rights. A lot of little loophole thingies trying to get people to screw up so they can lose the rights and stuff. So just keep an eye on that because it is a popular movie and everyone kind of likes it, and so we'll see what happens. But one movie that's not popular right now that's surprising is the Lion King movie.
Not good?
It came out rotten on Rotten Tomatoes, which we always... Remember we tell you, don't believe Rotten Tomatoes, but Disney movies have a tendency to usually do better than most on the site. Toy Story, all the Toy Stories
How did Aladdin do?
are over 95. I heard
good.
Aladdin did pretty good, and remember we talked about it, and I said, if Will Smith makes the genie his own, that's what's going to make it successful. And apparently that's what he did. He made it his own. He wasn't trying to be...
When did Lion King come
out? This past weekend, I believe. It came out Thursday.
Nobody saw it?
No, it just is coming out. People are bad reviewing it. And
just people in general?
Yeah, I mean, there is a guy who always bad reviews stuff. But, you know, I really liked the one trailer I saw. It looked great. I wasn't too worried about it. I mean, it seemed pretty funny. I like that they have Seth Rogen and Billy Eichner playing Timon and Pumbaa. So Seth Rogen's Pumbaa and Billy Eichner's Timon. And I like it because they both kind of use their persona. That's the thing, a big problem with voiceover work is everyone is like, oh, it's Seth Rogen, it's going to be funny because it's going to sound like Seth Rogen and it's going to be Seth Rogen. And I think this movie does that, which a lot of movies are like, oh, so-and-so is the voice of this, but they're not themselves. They're actually doing legitimate voice work, and I think maybe that's one of the complaints. I'm not reading any of the reviews. Like we said, don't trust Rotten Tomato for the most part. But because it is a Disney movie, I think they have a partnership with Fandango. So Fandango owns Rotten Tomato. So there are some reviews that usually get called out of it because people don't know. If me and Titus go on our podcast and let's say we reach 1,000 people and we told them all, go vote against this movie, downvote it, make it 0%, they can catch trends. So if all of a sudden there's an explosion of negative reviews, they actually factor out the top 10 and bottom 10% to make sure it's an actual fair review. So it was at 59%, I believe, when it debuted. I think it has to be 60% in order to not be rotten. So, I mean, we'll see. I'll check back in next week after it's been out for a little bit of time to see, what's going on. And, fingers crossed. If you have seen The Lion King, let us know on our social media platforms, facebook.com/Fomocast, Twitter, Fomo_cast, and Fomo Podcast on Instagram. Let us know if you've seen it, if you like it, if you enjoy it. Comment on this video to say, hey, how do you feel about all these remakes in general? Because they also have Mulan coming out. That's going to be coming out, I believe, this year or next year.
Is Jada Smith, is she going to play Mulan?
No, it's an actual Asian actress. So she looks the trailer that I did see looked phenomenal. People are mad because certain characters are not going to be in the movie, and I guess it's not going to be any music. It's not going to be a song singing movie. But it looked like a legitimate movie. I think that's the problem, is that I believe isn't Mulan loosely based on like something true that happened, I think.
Who knows? So
all I know is that it looks really well done. I'm very excited for that one at least, but let us know. So there was so much movie news. So have you ever watched any of the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock movies?
I think I saw the first one.
The first one? So they've been trying to get this third one out. It's been a big problem. I'm thinking Robert Downey Jr. is like, my Marvel train has ended, so let's go back on the other one. So they are starting with number 3. I guess they have a new director for it and everything. So we're gonna see how that goes. Kind of one of the weird ones. So a producer from The Ring and The Grudge is working on. Remember that fake scary thing, the Momo Challenge? Yeah. Well, apparently Orion Pictures is working on developing a movie about that.
Sure.
A horror movie.
That thing was scary looking.
But it was a sculpture, and the guy destroyed it once it became popular. He destroyed the sculpture.
I like how everyone just freaked out about it.
Well,
I thought it was real. Like, no one realized it was a hoax.
Well, and not just that. Okay, so same thing with Slender Man. Like, do you know the story behind the Slender Man?
Yeah.
How he got created?
Right. How
he was just a guy who was trying to make something super scary in like a Reddit forum, and it gained traction. So the same thing happened with the Momo thing. And the one thing I've noticed, for those of you on YouTube, some people just get most of their stuff from YouTube, news, whatnot. Right. Well, on Facebook, their fact checker thing has been doing very well. Very well. And I've noticed if someone comments this is fake news, it'll show up on the bottom of the post. It'll say, this article comes from a website that's known to put out fake articles to get clicks. So I really appreciate that, because hopefully it'll stop parents from posting about how, their child was taken away because they competed in the Momo Challenge.
What was Momo Challenge? You looked at the thing and it came and got you, or you?
I don't even remember, man. It was
telling kids to like kill themselves, right?
right. It basically what people were doing was they were taking that image, putting it on in videos, and what it was is the rumor was it was in the middle of, because there is this thing that's kind of creepy where animators are taking cartoons and halfway through they're changing it to make it sound like the characters tell you to kill you. So it's growing on in YouTube, and so I think it was something like that where they just took that picture and said I am Momo, and it said you need to do this and this kind of thing. So I mean, we'll see what happens with whether or not it goes through, but the way that horror movies are going, I'm sure it's going to.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of crummy horror movies. What was the last good horror movie you saw in the recent past year?
I haven't seen one.
Nah, I haven't seen
one. The last legitimate horror movie that I was like, oh man, was The Descent.
Right, you told me about this.
But I think it was because I think that one was in Australia. It wasn't filmed around here. I actually kind of liked the was it Teresa's Go Home? Oh, I can't remember what it was. What was the one where they end up going to the top of the Mayan temple, and the Mayan temple consumes them. It has like these branches.
Never heard of it.
So there's been a couple that I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool, but I'm not a huge horror fan. I'm more of like a suspense horror fan. I don't want the typical story. Like that's why I like The Descent, because The Descent was like you didn't even realize you were in trouble until all of a sudden you started seeing certain things, and then you were expecting one thing and got something else. So, but speaking of horror films, Samuel L. Jackson is gonna play Chris Rock's dad in Saw 9.
Chris Rock,
Mm-hmm.
the comedian,
Yes.
is in Saw.
He's gonna be in the new Saw movie. He's actually the one. I think he's directing it. He's the one that's bringing it back. Saw 9.
Chris Rock is directing Saw 9
Mm-hmm.
with Samuel Jackson
playing his dad. He's gonna be in it as well.
Wow. Has there ever been like 10 movies in a series before? Well, I guess Marvel. That's a lot of Saw movies. I didn't know that there were that many.
In Star Wars.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is though is that Saw. I mean, after the first one, like the first one was a good twist, and you're like, oh man. But then after the second one, you kind of saw, okay, well now he's not working alone. Okay, this is stupid. Okay, now this is what's okay. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. I have faith in Chris Rock. Looks like he's in that. Have you seen it? Have you seen the Old Town Road music video with Billy Ray Cyrus? He's in it. Chris Rock is in it. He's hilarious in it. He's still funny. So I'm okay. I think he's gonna do good. I'm looking forward to this movie a little bit. But
will this be the best Saw movie?
No, you can't beat the first one.
Besides the first one.
You can. I mean, with the first one in mind, it's gonna be very, very hard. Very, very hard.
Are you gonna see it?
I probably will. Yeah.
In the theaters?
Maybe. But we'll see. My favorite news though from movie one is the Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Fix it?
They said they fixed it, and they're saying that the producer says fans are gonna love it. I'm like, that's a very bold statement, my friend. Because how do you know people are gonna love it? What if you hype it up like that, and then everyone hates it, and then that makes the movie even worse. And then you got Jim Carrey probably gonna go out and start bashing it because he has no filter anymore.
That's true. I forgot about that. He looked good in it I saw the
He
trailer.
looked very good as Dr. Robotnik. I was very, very
Oscar
happy.
worthy. Oscar worthy.
No, not Oscar. They're like an Oscar. But he looked really good in it. The vibes I got from him felt very much like I remember the cartoon. So I mean, we're gonna see. If you were one of those people that didn't like it, we haven't talked about on the YouTube before, let us know about how you feel about the Sonic the Hedgehog movie and the current status of how he looked and whatnot, and just go to all of our places, Facebook, Instagram, and go to our patreon.com/Fomocast. I'm trying to think what other movie ones that was kind of that's not movie. We got
some movie deaths.
So the one that I think is real dumb is Sylvester Stallone is working on Expendables 4.
He's 75, right?
He's
in his 70s.
He's in his 70s.
He's in his 70s.
Problem for me is I thought it was doomed after the whole Terry Crews incident.
So what happened with that?
So allegedly, I believe Terry Crews, but I'm saying allegedly, someone big in the movie industry groped him.
Oh, yeah.
And he claims that he was told if he just dropped it, they would make sure he was in the next Expendables movie. And I was like, that's a bold statement. Terry Crews is an amazing actor, and I if I were him, I would say no, because it's his principle. And apparently, he was so visibly upset. His wife's supporting him 100%, because she's like, I was there, I saw what happened, kind of thing. So, I don't know how well it's going to do. I don't know who else is going to, because every time they have a new one, they add another person to it. So there's like 100 different people that are former,
Yeah, because last time we had, what, Bruce Willis? Schwarzenegger?
Schwarzenegger. Schwarzenegger was the one before that too, I believe.
Okay.
But they also had, so since the original one, they've added Wesley Snipes, they've added Ronda Rousey, they added,
Bruce Willis, right?
Yeah, but he's not very pivotal. They added Mel Gibson.
Oh, that's right.
He was in it.
He's the bad guy, wasn't he?
Chuck Norris was in it. So, they've added a lot of people. It's just kind of like, man, I don't know.
They're expendable. They need a lot of people.
I guess. My favorite one ever, this is kind of a spoiler, but not, is Jason Statham is my favorite. But when he says, I now pronounce you man and knife, when he's in the church and he throws a knife and it goes through the dude's shoulder and sticks into a wall. He's got the best one-liners, man. I was like, that's amazing. So, also everyone make sure, I believe Hobbs and Shaw is coming out soon. They had the world premiere yesterday, I believe, last night. It looks phenomenal. And also they just released the first clips of John Cena in the new Fast and Furious. So there's a lot of stuff dropping.
Dropping hot.
So let's go to two controversial things that happened movie-wise. Then we got a couple other ones. The Little Mermaid thing. So everyone
fake outrage.
It's super fake outrage, because I was kind of joking, but I was like, if this was about a real mermaid, she wouldn't have skin color. She'd be clear because she wasn't getting sunlight, so she'd have no pigmentation.
Way to ruin the movie magic.
She'd be clear. Have you ever heard the real story about it?
About mermaids?
No, about the Little Mermaid.
The children's story?
The children's story, which this is based off of.
No, I'm not familiar with
Oh, it's graphic. Like, there's death and everything involved. It's the same thing as everything. Like Hansel and Gretel, the original one, they both get eaten. You know what I mean? It's not. There's no happy endings. It wasn't. They were tales made to teach kids to be good. They weren't made to have happy endings.
No.
So I've heard her sing, the new girl casted. I think she sounds fantastic. I think that she's going to play an amazing Ariel. I have no problem with the casting at all, because it shouldn't be based on if you look like the person or not. It should be based on the sole fact of how you portray the character itself. The only thing that I loved that came out of it was Terry Crews pitching to become King Triton. He did a whole video of bubbles and fish.
That makes sense. That's a good fit.
The only thing I'm worried about is Disney's gonna take this moment to capitalize on it, and they're gonna basically create a whole new line of toys and different things, and then I don't want them to change the story just to explain why she's a different color. I don't think it should be a problem. I believe in they had cartoons of mermaids of all different colors, and they were like original Disney cartoons. You know what I mean? Don't mind my dogs howling in the
I
background.
don't understand what.
I don't. It doesn't matter to me. And what's funny is that there was more outrage on that than like I've seen videos of horrendous things happen to people, and people just walking by and no one's getting mad at people. People get hit by a car and whatnot. It's one of those things. But I digress. I think it's a great hiring move. I hope that she doesn't get any hate. I hope she doesn't get any backlash, and I hope she keeps pushing through to just make this the best movie it can. And those damn dogs, man. Can't believe them. The wife must have gone somewhere.
Smells like chickens in there too. You got how many animals you got in there?
Just the two dogs.
Those are dogs.
Yeah. They're a pain in my butt. So then another one that was it's kind of big. So did you watch the Power Rangers one that came out a couple years ago? The new Power Rangers movie.
No.
Okay, I actually really enjoyed it. I thought that.
I'm a Power Rangers fan though.
Huh?
I am a Power Rangers fan.
Right. Well, I watched it and I'm like, I wonder how they're gonna do this. I get people didn't like it because they didn't fully embrace their powers or become the Rangers till later in the movie. What's her face played Rita Repulsa? What's her name? She's the blonde hair actress. She's in everything. She was in Hunger Games. I can't remember her name, but she played a great Rita Repulsa, and I loved her arc and everything like that. So I was just kind of like, what can we do to make the next one better? Well, apparently Saban has decided they're going to reboot the whole thing with a new cast.
Oh wow!
So
Why not?
it was pretty quick. 2 years. It came out in 2017.
They're rebooting the whole movie, so new cast.
New cast, everything. So that was pretty shocking. And then my favorite news on top of that. So I was like, oh man, that would suck, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm looking at different stuff, and I don't know if this is so. Everyone knows I like comics. I can believe anything happens in a movie that's a comic book related movie, just because there's so many different storylines. And so the new Joker movie, the director flat out came out and said that this is my adaptation. There is no reference to any comics, nothing. I didn't use any source material. This is my straight adaptation. And I think that's the ballsiest move ever.
Yeah.
Because that's a great idea. You're basically creating your own story that can't be... So he's basically pre-warning people, when you come watch this, don't try and think that this is from this comic or that comic. None of this from any comic. How do you feel about that?
I know I kind of zoned out. What were we talking about? I was thinking about some other things. I had a late night last night.
Jesus. So the Joker, but
Okay.
it being its own story and not being like, oh, we're gonna take something from this comic and something from this
It's just
comic.
gonna fall into his own universe?
Not even that. It's gonna be an independent movie.
Sure, why not?
I think that because everyone's mad because you never find out his identity or his origin really.
You're not supposed to.
Right. And I think this is a good option to... Because here's the thing. If they do the movie and it does great and they want to make another movie that ties him in, you don't have to say... He can have a fake name in the movie. He doesn't have to be a certain name. It could be whoever. So I'm excited for it. I like the aspect that he was taking. I like the angle he was taking. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with it in the end. But the Joker, I'm super excited.
What about the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie? Did that ever come out?
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's not out yet.
Okay.
The Jared Leto's done for the most part, I believe.
That's good.
So I don't know if he's gonna be in Birds of Prey or not, but he might be. He might make a cameo in Birds of Prey. You don't know. Birds of Prey is the Harley Quinn movie. But let us know, like we said, how you feel about the Joker movie. How do you feel about any of these DC Marvel kind of versus each other movies? Facebook.com/Fomocast, Twitter @FOMO_cast, and FOMO Podcast on Instagram. Let's see. I have a couple stuff for Netflix. Oh, 3 things from Netflix. Man, Netflix had a lot of stuff come up. 4 things, 5 things. Oh my gosh, all that stuff is all friggin' Netflix. Wow. So sadly, we have to say R.I.P. to Rip Torn. Most people would know him as Zed from Men in Black.
It's not Z. It's Zed.
Yeah, I believe it's Zed. But he goes by, I think it's Z, but they call him Zed, I believe. So he was in that. He was also in Dodgeball. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
That's right.
And then...
was he in older movies?
I believe so. I think so. I think he acted for quite a long time. And sadly, people mostly remember him for breaking into a bank thinking he was his home. Which I will tell you where he was at. The bank did look like a house, but it was a little downhill. It was like a local bank. So you know how some of those ones just go into a house. We have them like the businesses downtown Turlock. Yeah. They're just in a regular house, but now it's zoned for businesses kind of thing. So we'll say sad to that, but we'll I really liked him in Men in Black. Great character. So it is, one of those things. They like they say, they happen in threes. So
that's the first one.
I think somebody else passed away too. Oh, the girl from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. She played was a Violet, the girl that eats the blueberry. She passed away as well. So she had cancer, and so I can't remember the third one, but I think there is a third one too. So on to it's gonna be all Netflix, all in the end. So Friends is leaving Netflix in 2020. Everyone's freaking out, but I was like, it's the NBC app.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Everyone was freaking out about it last year. Why do you think NBC only gave them a 1-year deal for $1 million? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why would you? Because they want it back. That's what they did. I think it was more than that. I think it was $100 million. Sorry, it was $100 million for 1 year. So I knew this was coming. No big news. The news that I actually really enjoyed. So I haven't watched season 3 of Stranger Things yet. I'm gonna start watching it.
I finished season 2. I didn't get into it. I watched the first 3 episodes of season 2 and just turned it off.
It got really good in the end.
Did it get it?
Really good.
It was boring in the first few episodes, wasn't it?
Slow.
It was slow.
I think it's because I think that's the way they do their episodes. Is it's slow in the beginning and then picks up. The thing I loved about the news is the writers have flat out said loved season 3, but the trajectory the kids were going on, we were hoping to do 5 seasons, but it looks like season 4 is going to be the last. So, I love the idea. It's very Breaking Bad-esque, which I have something to talk about that later after this one. But I think it's going to be a good way to end it after 4 seasons because it was a phenomenon. It's kind of there's more dissent on this season. People not liking it, so you can tell there's more of an opinion. But I think the big problem with Netflix is there's so much content out there that if you're not liking a show 100%, why are you going to sit here and watch it? There's no point. Go to the next show. So that's the big problem they're running into. Before, they didn't have that much original content, so they had time to build on it. But, like I've told multiple times to multiple people that ask me about what's the problem with TV now, is 95% of the shows now that get canceled because of low ratings would have been a hit in the early 2000s. Because they get more people than the other shows have ever gotten. You know, there was some crazy number that a show that got canceled recently would have been like the top 5 show in the early 2000s with the numbers that they got.
That seems to be a trend with like these shows that catch fire. Like people, the first season, people love it. Second season it gets a little worse. By third season, people are like hating on it. It just seems to be I don't know, people.
Well, you either get that,
or people watch it and then like.
You either get that, or I found you get some people that are like, oh, it's you got to go back and watch the first season. So like the second season's the best season, and then it gets slowly worse. So that's why I think 4 seasons is kind of like the peak, because if like what was the show? There was a show. Oh, The Good Place. Yeah. It's always been steady, and they go, well, it's going to end after this season, because they go, we had an entry plan, a seasons plan, and an exit plan, because we don't want this to be one of those shows that oversteps its boundaries and is no good in the end. You want to make sure it's 100% quality material the whole time. So, one that I started watching on Netflix and finished the whole thing was Mr. Iglesias.
Is that good?
It's phenomenal.
Hilarious?
It's so good.
Did you laugh a lot?
I laughed a lot.
Is he a teacher?
He's basically a history teacher. So there's 3 history teachers. It's him, this other guy, and this girl. And then there's an older man who does a different class. And then you have the principal, the handful of students, and then what's his face? The guy that played Shooter McGavin on Happy Gilmore. Yeah. He's in it too, and he's hilarious because they do a little because they do like little whenever he does stuff, he does the shooter thing whenever he's happy, and then he goes, "Man, you're a shooter over there." Like they kind of throw it at it. You know what I mean? Since Adam Sandler has a movie deal with Netflix, I'm sure he's probably okay with it. But it's really good. It's basically like, it reminds me of the old school sitcoms that have life lessons, but they keep the comedy flowing so much amidst. Remember those old, like probably when we were in elementary school, they'd have a dark episode where there was no laughs. It was all about something serious, about someone doing drugs or someone being a drunk. This one keeps the comedy flowing through those problems. So, like, there's life lessons, but it's also like, oh, this is kind of funny kind of thing. So, I also liked, you could tell they kept the pilot. Like, they didn't try and redo, like have a pilot and then start the show a different way. They kept the pilot and then they modified it to make it work with the season. So it was really cool. Made the story kind of start off to really, really well. But it's a great show. Gabriel Iglesias does a great job. He actually thanks his teacher on the first episode. And if you go to their Facebook page for Mr. Iglesias, he has a video up with him talking about her and how much she meant to him. And the funny part is, so she got him started in comedy because he was afraid to talk in front of people. But she said, you're a funny guy, so go up there and talk, and I'll give you extra credit. And so he goes, you know who didn't turn any papers in that year? And he raises his hand. He goes, you know who had to change her class policy the next year about extra credit? And he goes, Mrs. So-and-so. So, you know, it's a cool little story to why he did it. So I'm excited for it. And before I forget, so a couple episodes ago we talked about there was a tweet out by Aaron Paul and Bryan Cranston that made it sound like there was going to be a
Breaking Bad movie.
Right. You know what it was for?
What for?
They started a tequila business together. So that's what it was. They were hyping that.
It did make sense for the movie to come out.
Well, there is a movie coming.
There is a movie.
There is going to be a movie. But they were just, I think, capitalizing off of it, and they were going to do it.
And both these guys are going to be in the movie?
No, I think just Aaron Paul is.
Okay.
That's the only one who's officially signed off for it.
Is it a prequel, or is it like after?
I don't know yet. They're not releasing any info.
Is he coming on? Is he going to the movie theaters?
No, I think it's going to AMC. It's like, I think they're doing with the whole Walking Dead thing with the movies.
Okay.
What was the other one I was going to talk about? There's something else I saw. There's been a lot of stuff just popping up on Twitter that's been really funny lately with just different. The Russo brothers tweeted out a freaking clip of Ahmed and Troy from Community, their rap.
Okay. So
they think they're gonna make it a reality of 6 seasons in a movie for Community.
Really?
Yeah. It's really cool because it's just kind of, who knows, they could just be screwing around. So we talked about Stranger Things and Friends and Mr. Iglesias. And then, they have announced 13 Reasons Why. The foundation of this podcast is 13 Reasons Why we started it back in October. Very difficult to explain how the last season ended, how it's going to start this season, so I'm going to be watching it immediately just to try and figure out what's going to happen because I'm very interested. But the coolest thing I saw so far, I was watching Netflix and I was like, man, there's a lot of new shows coming on, blah, blah, blah. Well, since they don't do trailers, you don't really get to see anything that's coming up. So I was on Facebook and I saw this ad, and it's Brenda Wong, I think is her name. She was the one from Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, and it's a Disney Channel's person. And it's a movie, it's called Secret Obsession. And basically, she is in a car accident, and she wakes up, and the guy's like, honey, are you okay? And she's like, who are you? She's like, I'm your husband. And turns out it's a single white female situation. So she's basically being held captive, and basically the husband, don't know what happened to him, doesn't say in the trailer, but it shows him, the guy that's saying is her husband, at their wedding and saying that I just wanted to take care of you, blah, 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 blah. It looks phenomenal. While it's not an original story type, I do like the way it looks. Brenda Wong looks like really good in the role. So, I mean, we're going to see, what happens with it because they've been doing really good with their little kind of horror thriller kind of movies. Yeah. So who knows? I mean, it could pan out better than anyone thought, or could fail. I'm going to be watching it 100% because I like all the new stuff that's coming out from Netflix because it's been hit after hit after hit. Now when Disney Plus comes out, I am probably going to cancel my DirecTV Now subscription so that way I can just have Disney Plus because the kid loves all those shows.
So it seems like you're going to be paying just as much as cable because you're just going to get all these different services.
So, well, here's the deal. They haven't said how it's going to work out. Let me adjust this. Stupid thing is making noises again. They haven't said how it's going to work out for all these TV subscription places. So, like, when you have DirecTV or you have Dish Network, you can use your login info to log into these apps to watch the shows through the apps. The problem is are they going to do like CBS and all of a sudden they're going to have 2 apps where you can only watch certain shows on the apps and blah, blah, blah. We don't know what's going to happen. But that's a joke. Yeah, that's everyone's saying. You're going to end up having to get 7 different subscription services just to try and watch the shows that you like. So that's why I think if you're on the fence, you're getting rid of cable. Your best bet right now, for me personally, knowing the way that Hulu works, if you want Netflix and Hulu, you're safe there because all the networks are a part of Hulu.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna do any damage to Hulu, and you actually might get some good movies coming out because the rumor is Disney, the reason why they wanted to become majority owner of Hulu is because they want to start putting out original movies to Hulu, the ones they can't put on Disney Plus. Yeah, because they own Touchstone Pictures.
Oh, so put like non-Disney movies on.
Put non-Disney movies and make original content for Hulu only. So have more horror stuff like Netflix has, things like that. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited for everything that's coming out on Netflix. I need to get back into Handmaid's Tale. I did like The Act, which was on Hulu. Very good show on there about the that girl. What's her name? I can't remember her name is. Gypsy Rose. She was the girl in the wheelchair that wasn't really sick. Her mom had Munchausen by proxy. Very good show with what's her name? I always liked. It's got Patricia Arquette plays the mom, and then I can't remember the actress. I can see her face. She was in The Kissing Booth on Netflix. She's also really Joey King, fantastic. Everyone in that movie is just super good. Because one of the guys he plays like he's not mentally challenged, he's slow. He's like, what do they call that? Developmentally disabled, I guess. So he's fully functioning, but he's just a little slow. So he doesn't understand. Like you could tell him that person wants to kill me, and that's not true, but he'll want to protect you, kind of thing. So, and the guy who plays him really, really good in that movie too, or the TV series. So we'll see how that goes. But like I always say, make sure to go to all of our stuff: Facebook.com/Fomocast. Twitter, FOMO_cast, and FOMO Podcast. On Instagram, I'll take a picture after we're all done. I'll save the video. For the YouTube, hello YouTube, go to youtube.com, search FOMOcast Podcast. Make sure to go to our patreon.com/FOMOcast, and make sure to go to the Pod Bros Network, podbros.com. Check out all the great podcasts they have there. I think we started at about the same time as That's Delightful, and they actually just hit their 100th episode, so we're a little bit behind them. Took a couple breaks because, we can, because we're not getting paid for this. We're doing it for our enjoyment. So make sure you come back. We'll be a little bit more frequent, hopefully. I'm hoping. We'll see what happens. Who knows? We're here when we're here. Right. I'm going to try and do some YouTube videos just of general stuff, editing-wise, just to see what's some fun. So if you see some weird videos on there, I'm probably just experimenting with different recording techniques. So for the Fomocast, I'm Chris.
And I am Titus.
And maybe if he doesn't go to Korea, you'll see him next time. We're out here.